When I was 15, I I believed that my life would be perfect by the time I turned 40. I would understand everything in life, and also I would have everything I need, and also finally I would understand who I am, because because I was tired of not knowing what's gonna happen in my life. And at 15, I had a teacher who seemed to have everything, and I remember, like, to me she was so rich, and she seemed like she's richest and luckiest, happiest person in the world. And I dreamed, like, one day I really want to be like her. And I asked, "How old are you?" And she smiled at me and said, "Why? I am 40." And from that moment, I believed very simple that 40 is the age when life finally makes sense. And um, but life doesn't work like that. Life doesn't become clear at certain age, or it doesn't arrive as a finished version. Instead, life unfolds in seasons, and every season has something to teach us. In my 20s, I lived quickly and passionately. I worked as a journalist and a book editor and a translator, and my life was filled with newspapers, books, stories, words, and people. And it looked like I was moving forward with purpose, but inside I was still searching for a direction, searching for meaning, and searching for myself. And then my 30s arrived, and life asked me to slow down. I I became a mom to two daughters, and motherhood changed everything. You know, I for the first time, life was no longer only about your plan, ambitions, or your dreams. It became about nurturing another life, protecting, guiding it, and loving it. And motherhood is beautiful. It's a very nice experience, unlike anything else, but also it can be very overwhelming. Uh, Suddenly, your identity shifts, and the person you used to be feels very distant. And for me, it was very hard season, very isolated season, also very quiet season. And then life gave me something that I was not prepared for. And the moment that changed my understanding of the life completely. In my 30s, I almost died. I, I was in the hospital. Doctors were not sure if I would survive. And I, everything became fragile, you know, in a way I never understood before. And I remember I was lying down in the hospital, surrounded by beeping machines, and I was not afraid for myself, and I was only thinking about my children and my husband. And I looked at my husband and I said something no mother ever wants to say, take care of our kids. And soon after that, I fell into coma. And in that strange space between life and death, I experienced something I cannot fully explain. Some people said it's just dream. But I don't know, maybe it was dream or maybe it was more than dream. It felt like I had reached another place, a place without the pain and place without the fear. And I felt peace. It was so peaceful. And then suddenly someone whispered to me, you need to go back. Your kids and your husband, they are looking for you. And suddenly I woke up. And when you come that close to losing the life, something inside you changes. You begin to see everything differently in life, see the time differently, and you begin to understand something very important and powerful. Life is not something we should wait for. Life is something that we are already living. Right now, every day, and every moment, and every breath. I realized that I had been rushing through my life without really living it. And this season of my 30s gave me something that this season gave me something, what I now see is as a second chance at life. Second chance to ask myself different question, not like, what should I achieve? But how do I want to live with my second chance? And this question quietly led me to somewhere unexpected, education. Looking back now, I can see something that I couldn't see before. Life was actually quietly preparing me. Life was, I used to work as a volunteer at orphanage, and also like I used to read the book to children, and I talked to young patients in cancer centers, and I talked to them, and I wrote about them, and I thought I was helping them, but but life was shaping me. It was teaching me how to sit with pain and have to listen without fixing and have to be present. So everything I had done before preparing me somewhere I didn't yet see. Education, a classroom. And when I stepped into the classroom the first time, it was not easy. It was so difficult. The students, they were so hard to deal with, and I felt frustrated, and they challenged me. But truth is that they were not the problem. I just didn't understand them yet. And then they questioned me, they tested boundaries, and they pushed me through my limits. And I remember someday they called me monster. You are a monster. And I remember going home and talking and thinking, maybe I'm not meant to be a teacher. And then I instead of giving up, I made a small but important decision. Instead of trying to control my students, I chose to understand them I talk to them, and I listen to their fears, their lives. I started to understand their dreams, their fears, and it changed everything. My classroom became calmer, more connected, more human. And just a few months ago, my high school students said something I will never forget. They said, "Miss Muugi, please don't leave us until we finish our high school." And I said, "Why?" And they said, "Because you are our mom at school. And moms never give up on the kids, And in that moment, I realized I had become the person my 15 years old self was looking for. Today, I work with young people who are just starting their journeys. They are curious, they are full of possibility, and most of them feel pressure, pressure to have everything figured out, to know who they are, to know who they will become. But the truth is, life is not a straight line. It's it's journey through the seasons. And some special and actually meaningful parts of our life start later than we expect. Today I am in my 40s, and I can tell you something that my 15 years old self never understood. Life didn't end here in 40s. Actually, in many ways, it finally began. And it didn't begin in 40s because I am famous or I have everything figured out. No, it's just because I finally allowed myself to grow. So if I could speak to my 15 years old self today, I would just say, don't rush. You don't have to be perfect. Life is not a race. It's a journey through seasons, and every season matters. Even the painful one, even confusing ones, even the seasons where you feel lost. Because those seasons are becoming, and those seasons are shaping who you are becoming. And many of you maybe feel that you're behind, but as a 40 years old lady, I can tell you something. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not lost. You are simply becoming. And most beautiful part of the life is this: we never finished becoming. Thank you.